Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm at a place I normally don't go to. I'm at a cemetery. Here in Vienna there's this one central cemetery that's very well known, the Zentralfriedhof. I'm here at another cemetery. We will come to the Zentralfriedhof in the second part of this video, but the first part is here at the St. Mark's Friedhof, St. Mark's Cemetery, because there's one guy lying here. I'm sure you heard the name. He who was such a genius, and his grave is right here. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, that's his grave. He was buried here in 1791, somewhere here on this cemetery. And if you want to read that, read it. It's simple. Okay, not too simple, but not too exclusive. And an important point in the history of music when Mozart died in 1791. Here at the St. Mark's Friedhof, St. Mark's Cemetery in Vienna. We're not too far away from the hotel. We had to search a little bit to find the cemetery. The grave was pretty easy to find. And we will go to another cemetery now, which is this direction, back to the right. Let me come back to you on the Zentralfriedhof. Okay, part 2. The biggest and most popular cemetery in Vienna, if not in the world. This cemetery is so massive, there are even songs about this place. This is the Zentralfriedhof here in Vienna. This is one of the gates. So many famous people find their last ride ending here, and we will get it on now. In one of the biggest cemeteries in Europe, sizes more than 2.5 square kilometers. And this is indeed big. We are here at gate number 1, which is right there. There are even e-bikes for rent. There is a museum. Oh my goodness. There's a church in the middle of the cemetery. And as mentioned, a lot of famous people lie here. We will find out who it is. I come back to you at the first popular grave here at the cemetery. And before we get to the well-known people that are buried here, some graves, even of normal people, look pretty spectacular. Like this one here, or right here. Yeah, this is definitely more modern than the old cemeteries at the Freedom Trail in Boston. If you haven't seen the Freedom Trail, have a look up in the corner. There are also cemeteries in this video, but they are all pretty small, and this is massive. How much was it? 3.3 million dead bodies are lying here. It's incredibly big. And yeah, we've seen just at the beginning a grave with someone who died in 2019. So also new graves are here, not only the old ones. It's big. It's impressive. But it's also beautiful, especially with the trees that are starting up right now. I don't know, are these cherry trees? Kirschblüte? Looks like, huh?
Could be, but I wouldn't eat cherry.
Could absolutely be.
Cemetery tree.
A cherry cemetery tree.
I wouldn't eat cherries from a cemetery tree.
You wouldn't?
No.
You wouldn't eat cherries from a cemetery tree. Oh yeah, and what's here up as well? Have a look up there. The short final of Vienna International Airport. with southerly or southeasterly winds as we have today, is going right over this cemetery. This, for example, is a Wizz Air, one of the European low-cost carriers, going into Vienna International. What a massive cemetery that is. Okay, come back to you at the popular grave. Okay, here at the first honorable people cemetery, but this all have to be Austrians I've never heard of. But the graves look pretty cool. Like over there, Field Marshal that died in 1870. And so does not only this grave, but the dome here in the background. Sometimes it's hard to believe that this is a cemetery. It's really, really impressive. Somewhere here is the grave of Ludwig van Beethoven. Must be a little further back to the left. Let's check if we find it. At graves like this, or like this. That's pretty impressive. And of course this church here in the middle. Even on big German cemeteries, yeah, there is a so-called Aussegnungshalle, where the bodies are lined up and the ceremonies can go on, can commence. Even these are not even close to as impressive as this structure here is. Central Cemetery in Vienna. And of course, I've never seen a cemetery that is accessible by car. And that has views like this. Austrian Airlines, Airbus 320. And yeah, this is not only a Christian cemetery. Here on this Zentralfriedhof there are compartments for each religion. We already saw a Orthodox part, we saw a Jewish part, we saw a Buddhist and a Muslim part, so everything is here on the cemetery. Okay, just a few meters down the road, here are lying some famous composers. Johannes Brahms, right next to him Johann Strauss and his wife. That looks very good. Who is here? Let's start over there. One of the most famous graves on the cemetery, Ludwig van Beethoven. Oh yeah, and here is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. This is not his real grave. He was buried, as mentioned earlier in the video, on another cemetery, on the St. Mark's Friedhof. But 50 years after he died, he was resurfaced and brought here to lie in between his colleagues, Beethoven to the left, and here Franz Schubert to the right. Also a very famous Austrian composer. That's impressive. And there are more famous people here on the cemetery. Let's see if we find the grave of Udo Jürgens, who died not that long ago. A very famous musician, German/Austrian. I'm sure he died in Vienna, but I'm sure he was born in Germany. Okay, come back to you if we find more well-known names. Okay, here's the next very famous guy.
At least here.
Not Mrs.Cycopunk, but Udo Jürgens. Piano player, singer-songwriter, very well known in the German-speaking world. He made fantastic music, like the This Tom and Jerry, this is not for fun. This is because the title song he composed and sung, and a lot of other stuff. He was really good. Another famous actor, I think he's also known in the English-speaking world, Kurt Jürgens, lies here. And let's come to one or two more guys here in this area before we look for someone else, a very famous Austrian musician, Falco. His music is also known all around the world, and he's supposed to be here too. But first, yeah, here he is. Theo Lingen. Very admirable German actor, Austrian actor. He was really funny, absolutely beloved. When he played the director in the school movie series in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, he was fantastic. Okay, so let's look for someone else. I want to look for Falco, so let's get it on. Okay, and the second to last grave I want to show you is this one. I'm sure you've never heard the name Hans Hölzl, but the name Falco, this is something else. One of the most famous Austrian musicians of the new time. Songs like Rock Me Amadeus, Out of the Dark, what else? Ginny. He did some great stuff. And his mother lies here as well. But one more thing I don't want to get over is also the history. Because this cemetery is not only still in use, it was in use for quite some time. And of course it also was in use in the terror regime of the Nazis. And here, this aerial with the flag, this is a memorial to more than 1,000 men and women buried here between 1938 and 1945 that were sentenced to death by the terror regime of the Nazis and were executed here in Vienna by the city of Vienna for everybody. Okay, this will end our cemetery video. Hope you enjoyed the grave of Mozart at the smaller cemetery, and now Zentralfriedhof, the central cemetery, and all its famous persons that are here forever. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and see you soon back in Vienna. Until then, have a good time. Goodbye.